Hello and welcome. I am Conan Librarian, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be reviewing the Lone Wolf One Person One Day Survival Kit from Walmart. And at the end, I'm going to show you 4 things that you can add to this kit for cheap to make it an actual decent kit. Now, you can go online, and there are a lot of videos of reviews of this. And while I don't think this is an amazing kit, I think it takes a lot of flack for being small or being kind of cheap because it only comes in at 21, 22 bucks, and for not having everything you need. And for the most part, people aren't wrong about this. It's not amazing. But I want to go through it and show why it's not actually that bad of a grab bag. And like I said, there are a few items we can add for dirt cheap to make this an actual decent thing to throw in your car or throw in your pack or just throw somewhere just in case of an emergency. We're going to start by opening this up, and I am going to give a little bit of a disclaimer up at the top. I have already opened this kit, and the reason is I wanted to test a couple things in here so I could really show off some of the things they claim and just show what kind of durability and use some of these things have. Because at the end of the day, whether you have cheap gear or really expensive gear, the thing that will help you survive or get through a difficult situation, whether it's an emergency, snowed into your car, whatever it is, a tornado, a fire, preparedness and knowledge is the number one thing you can have. A tool and equipment, those things are only going to help you so far if you don't know how to use them or if you're not prepared with those things. So we're going to start out. The back has, and you can pause it here if you want to see everything, but main categories: food, water, first aid, protection, light communication, tools, and other. So, worst case scenario, if you were just opening this up for the first time in an emergency, don't get rid of the box. It's fire tinder. It's paper. It's a thing you can burn. Don't get rid of the box if it's an emergency situation where you might actually need fire fuel. I do not, however, so that is getting recycled. The bag to start, the material is actually waterproof. It's this bright orange, which is great. It can help you get noticed. However, what is not waterproof are the seams themselves. I actually tested this, and I'll drop a picture here, show you exactly what I mean. It's where these seams meet, and even though on the inside you can see this seam here has been double sewn and it has this liner, if you were going to use this as an emergency pouch or bag, take some time and either waterproof the things inside or make sure water can't get to the things inside, or waterproof this bag. You can use the same material you use to treat a tent or boots or any outdoor gear with some waterproofing chemicals and aids. Or if you don't want to, if you're not sure, if you don't have that, if you don't want to spend the money, just stick everything in a big freezer bag inside of here just to make sure it stays actually waterproof. I'm probably going to end up doing both just because sometimes bags leak and I'd rather have that double backup, especially if I'm relying on this in an emergency situation. Up top, and it said it had a compass, a flint, a steel, and a whistle, and that's this kit here. So I've seen this setup before on the survival bracelets, and these aren't bad. As a matter of fact, I carry these in all my packs. I make my kids carry them, the wife carry them. I have them in my car. I don't wear one because I'm not that wild about them, but they're a useful little tool. They have several tools built in, a little bit of cordage. I don't know that I'd hang actual 550 pounds off of this cord, but it is cordage. This is pretty much the same setup here. You have your compass, and I actually have my compass to check and see if this is accurate. All right. So this is saying north. This one's hard to tell. There we go. This north is, well, directly behind me. Has this. Yeah, so surprisingly, this is reading pretty accurately. This is the compass I use when I'm actually hiking. So yeah, surprisingly, pretty accurate. I'm impressed by that. Not perfect, but pretty good for a little button compass, all things considered. A lot of times these things are just trash. On here is a little whistle. I'm not going to blow it super loud. I don't want to freak out my dog. Again, not amazing, but it beats yelling and screaming and wearing out your voice. On the inside, so this, like I showed on the bracelet, this is actually the striker here, and this is your little ferro rod right here. So you would scrape the paint off. Let's see if I can starting. I don't know if I wanted. So you scrape off the paint. I'm not going to take all the time to do something like that right here. But that's a good little thing to have with you. It's fire just in case. What I usually do with these, though, or I've done several times in the past, is I don't really feel like I'd want to have this in front of me while I'm trying to start a fire. I don't want my bag right there while I'm trying to start a fire. Should be able to. Nice and easy. Yep. You can ease out the striker and the ferro rod itself. Now they're tiny when you do this. Yeah, nice and easy. So these are pretty tiny. This is not, those giant ferro rods that you can get. But honestly, if I were going to carry just this to start fires, I would rather have these two things separate, keep them in a bag, keep them in my pocket, do something where I can just keep these safe. And the buckle still works just fine. So, yeah, that's not too bad. We have then these items. I'm just going to grab from the top, pull it out, and go through each piece. First thing, do this, is your emergency disaster guide. You'd see little... I feel like they could have done more with this cover. This is wasted space as far as information. It's neat, and that definitely looks like a bunch of emergencies. But the inside is general checklists and general things to do before, during, and after some emergencies. So it's not a bad thing to have: earthquake, fire, tornado, hurricane. Pretty basic stuff, but at the same time, one, it's good just to have information, especially say someone doesn't know what to do. And two, something to keep you from going a little nuts if you're bored, if you're stuck somewhere, if you are in an emergency, something to keep yourself kind of sane, especially for someone who just needs to, I don't know, needs to kind of center or focus themselves. On the back is the emergency supply checklist. Now, this bag obviously can't fit all of these things, but it's honestly not a bad checklist. It is missing a few things on here that I think I would probably add, but that's for a different video, really. Like I said, there are a few things I want to add to this that will focus really on what this is to make it better, and that'll be at the end here. So, emergency checklist and guide. First thing is a whistle. Now, I know there's a whistle already built in on the buckle, but this isn't a bad thing to have just around your neck. That way it's readily available because you're not going to wear a bag around your neck. I also like that it comes on a lanyard. That way, if you really want to, you can string other essential things from your neck. It just means, because things fall out of your pocket, things get lost, but if you want to put a knife, if you want to put something essential on you, so it's a lot less likely to get lost. Whistle, always good, and that's on the checklist. Matter of fact, why don't we go through, we're going to check things off as we go through them. So, whistle. Next step is, there we go, a mask. A mask is good for a lot of reasons. Obviously, germs is a big thing everyone's conscious of, but this is really good in an emergency situation just to try to keep you breathing fresher when there's a lot of dust or particles in the air. It's not the same as an N95, but it's always good to have a mask. And say you want to use it to filter out debris or material from water that you want to purify, something like that. A mask has a lot of uses beyond just keeping out germs. It It's actually a really useful thing to have. This guy, it's not sterile, it's not bagged. So this could be better, but it's not a bad supply. All right, so a mask, and we're actually going to check that off the list because it is on there. And I don't think that's a bad supply to have in an emergency at all. So a glow stick, and this kit actually comes with 2 of them, but the other one I actually pulled, and I'm testing. When I drop this video, I'm gonna actually have the little experiment that I did. So as I'm shooting this, I as of yet don't know exactly how long these last. It says up to 12 hours, but I'm really curious about how long that 12 hours really stays. And what I'll do is I'll drop the experiment that I'm doing. It's got a timer on it, essentially, taken every few hours to see how bright it really stays for how long. So here's this. I don't know what this picture is because I'm going to put it in post, but I like glow sticks. They're cheap. I mean, they're dirt cheap. You can get them at the dollar store. Several of them in a pack. Glow sticks never hurt anything. They keep spirits up. They're better than sitting in the dark. But this checklist I noticed has flashlights. This is absolutely not a flashlight. But glow sticks are good. They also can help you get noticed. I like glow sticks. They're in all my packs. I even have tiny little mini glow sticks in my EDC tin. Like, I like glow sticks. Again, not a flashlight, but they're a good emergency supply because they help you get noticed if nothing else. Whether you're on the road in the woods or just walking around town, you want to keep the kids' spirits up. Whatever it is, glow sticks really aren't a bad thing. You don't have to worry about running out of batteries. You don't have to worry about them, like, overheating. Get a couple glow sticks, throw them in your stuff. I've got them all over the place because I like them. They're cheap, they're easy, they're not a bad supply at all. We've got first aid. The box says legitimately first aid. Actually calls this. It says 5 bandages. Ooh, yep. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 band-aids is their idea of first aid. This is a hard fail. First of all, you can get more band-aids out of a box at the dollar store than this. There's nothing to clean a wound, even if it's a paper cut. This is better than, I guess, bleeding all over your shirt or something, but this is pretty pitiful. I'll always use band-aids, that's fine. But this could be a lot better. The kit has first aid. I'm not even going to put a kind of, because this is a hard fail. This doesn't do it at all. What else? Got 2 things in here that I'll pull out. Let's see. So we've got 2 things here. One is an emergency blanket. These are pretty common with most gear now. Anytime you buy a survival something, comes with these. You can get like 10 of them for 10 up to 15 bucks. The quality can be pretty dubious. It really depends on what brand you're getting. I mean, this thing feels super thin. You can get nice ones that are essentially like almost emergency sleeping bags, but with this thing, I mean, this even has on here, what does this have? It says sleeping bag. This is not a sleeping bag. It is a type of cover, and honestly, this is the kind of thing I carry in my emergency bags. I keep them in my car. This is a good thing to have. I like these a lot. I have them in most of my kits. They just reflect your body heat back at you. So if you are out in the middle of winter, this is not going to be enough. But it is good if you're cold, and it is good in an emergency situation. And in the right environment with the right heat source, this can keep you warm by itself, depending on your environment. So emergency blanket is good. It does not count as a sleeping bag, but I think it's good for a kit like this. The other thing I pulled out is triangular bandage. I think this is supposed to be, if I'm looking at the box, it says this is part of the First aid. First aid is the face mask, the band-aids, and oh, the emergency disaster guide. Although I wouldn't really call this first aid. Yeah, essentially don't get hurt, call 911. Yeah, it still is failing first aid. Triangular bandage, I guess to make a sling, you can cut this up and use the gauze just to take care of different injuries. It does have a couple safety pins with it, so that's not a bad thing. Safety pins are always good. Yeah, this isn't a terrible thing to have. Non-sterile, basic bandage. I would just use this probably to cut up and wrap different wounds, so not a terrible thing to have. Last, I think that's last. Yeah. The last bit here is the food and water. Now, if you're interested in, you do any sort of outdoor survival, EDC, you're probably familiar with these Food Lab water pouches. Little over 4 ounces of water, good for years and years. These are good till 2025. This is enough water for a day if you really have to stretch it. May last you 2 days. Just good, potable drinking water on the go. I like these a lot. So it comes with 3 of those and this nutrition bar. This thing it's heavy, vanilla flavored. I'm not going to crack it open. You can find videos of guys that crack this open and say it's not terrible. It is 400 calories with, yeah, decent amount of sugar, fiber. Calories are always good, but when I'm looking at stuff I'm going to eat, especially in an emergency situation, I like to see what else is in it. You know, what else am I getting out of it? So 400 calories, it's enough to get you through so you're not starving. It's not that, I think 1200 calories that's recommended. And if you're really doing a lot of energy spending, so say an emergency situation, 400 calories is not going to be a whole lot. So you'd be good to find something else to eat. But this is better than nothing in an emergency situation. If you have to ration it, it's better than not having anything with you. So this has water, it says. Now this is, again, a pretty broad checklist, and it says 1 gallon of water per person for at least 3 days for an emergency situation. This is not a gallon of water. 3 days of non-perishable food. Don't forget a can opener. This is not 3 days of food. So I'm not going to say this gets a fail, but for this kit, yeah, this will get you through a day or two of rationing without anything else. So I'm going to give this a pass and say that we would want to find more of this. Now, going over everything that's here, like I said, I don't think this is too bad for 21, 22 bucks. You can spend a lot more and get a lot less. Now, the quality may be a little dubious on some of this. I bet you these are those Band-Aids that don't even stick well and come right off. The whistle is cheap plastic with cord that's not going to hold a whole lot. The bag is a little thin. The light stick, I mean, we're going to find out at the end when I post this, and I've got the piece of paper that has the breakdown on the hours. But all in all, for 21, 22 bucks, this gear by itself would cost you probably closer to $30 or $40, especially because it's hard to find one face mask, one of these energy bars, 3 packs of this water by themselves, 1 triangular bandage. Pieced together, all of these things would be more than this 20-something dollars. So I think for the value, it's really not too bad. However, there are a couple things that this is missing. I'm going to pack this up, and then I'm going to show you 4 things that you can throw in here that are going to be under 20, I'm going to say $20 a piece, that would make this kit actually worth throwing in a bag, throwing in your car, or just grabbing when you're in an emergency. So I'm jumping in on my own video to throw out a couple quick runner-ups, and I may even decide to throw these in here later on, but I think it's important to mention a few things that I feel like people will probably point out. It would be some wipes, whether they're alcohol wipes, dude wipes, whatever it is, some sort of wipe to clean yourself, clean other surfaces. Wipes are always a good idea. You can get them in a lot of sizes, whether they're single use, big, the kinds you use to clean babies, just all sorts. So some sort of alcohol wipe or cleansing wipe is a good idea. I would probably recommend the type that you can actually wipe yourself with as well, just clean yourself up in different circumstances. The other honorable nomination would be a charge pack. This guy was $6. It's enough to charge my phone. Granted, I have a much older phone than most folks, but a battery pack, and you could go crazy with it. I mean, I like this guy. This guy I carry when I'm camping or hiking, has a solar panel that's decent, but regardless, it's much higher capacity. So a charging pack, I think I'd go with the smaller one to throw in a kit like this just because it is small enough to fit in here. But two runner-ups that I think definitely are worth noting, and like I said, may actually end up in here eventually because I think also a lot of people have these in their emergency packs and would mention these either way. All right, so I've gone through what is okay, what's decent, what's good, what's bad in this. But like I said, there are 4 things that we can add to this for cheap, that are easy to find, that would make this kit, I think, actually worth grabbing. The first thing is a lighter. Now, you can get a lighter, you can do matches, you can do a lot of things. I prefer a lighter just because it's easy, it's accessible, it will throw a spark even if it runs out of fuel. A lighter. There's no reason that you shouldn't have one in any circumstance. I know this comes with a flint and steel on it or a flint and a ferro rod. That is not a surefire way. A lighter is good for 1,000 different things. I don't really need to go through all of them. Just a lighter is 100% something you should have in an emergency situation. The next thing, probably even more important than a lighter, is a flashlight. This one was $1. You can spend a ridiculous amount of money on some very good flashlights, but I don't have a ridiculous amount of money. I just need something that's a backup. I just need something that will work when I hit a button. It doesn't have to have strobe or anything crazy. A flashlight in whatever form should be in every emergency kit. So a flashlight. Uh, Next is, well, actual first aid, because 5 band-aids and a face mask is not, in fact, first aid. It was this be smarter, get prepared. Be smarter, get prepared-er, because this is junk. I bet you they're crappy band-aids anyways. A decent first aid kit. Now, I'm going to show first off, this is the first aid kit I always carry with me. I haven't actually opened this up. It's in my Easy Dad Carry fanny pack sling bag. I carry this, goes with me everywhere. I can always open it up. If anyone has any interest, I'll show what I carry in it. You don't have to even go this crazy, but you could do better than 5 band-aids. Even if it's just a small kit, if it's something you build or buy or find, whatever it is. I say this in every video that has any sort of first aid portion. I implore everyone, get a decent first aid kit. Not just what's in your medicine cabinet, but build something, have something, find something, do something that's decent that will take care of the types of injuries you most commonly are faced with. I don't carry a tourniquet with me. I don't have sucking chest wound bandages. However, something that takes care of cuts, something that will sterilize, something that will in fact get you through an emergency situation for the most part. So a decent first aid kit. This is an okay one, but the fact is I can fit more in this Altoids tins, in these Altoid tin size things rather, than you see in a lot of big expensive first aid kits that have a lot of stuff you aren't going to use. So a first aid kit, absolutely. And the last thing I think is underrated in a lot of ways. A lot of people will say a knife is one of the most important things, and I love my knives. I carry This is my EDC right now, my Civivi Baby Banter. I love this knife. If I am camping or hiking, I usually have my Mora knife. These are just awesome knives for the money, 10 to 15 bucks. Great steel, great blades. You can baton them. You could do a lot of different things. These are great. However, for me, the best thing to have in an emergency kit, something like this, would be a multi-tool. You could spend a lot of money on multi-tools. Whether you're looking at some Leatherman for 150, 200 bucks, you're looking at a Gerber for 50, 60 bucks. You're looking at, I like this, it's been my carry lately, this is the Ozark Trail Multi-Force. It's a Leatherman knockoff. It's a great blade. Look these up. They're great budget carry compared to the Leatherman that it emulates. But this is the Ganzo for 20 bucks. Decent scissors, pliers, saw, knife, and this actually for that $20 also came with a set of bits on it. So while this is not amazing, this is not going to saw through a tree, this is not going to cut through steel. What it will do is open cans, or the scissors will cut through what you need to cut through. What these will do is open something or close something. These give you tools and options that otherwise you may have to carry an actual toolkit for. Now, multi-tools they're good at a lot of things, but great at none of them, is what's been said. And I have to say, I agree, as someone who carries a multi-force, or rather a multi-tool, yes, the multi-force, but a multi-tool on me most days, that is true. However, in an emergency situation, the tools that you will find on this will usually be pretty adequate to take care of what emergencies you might be dealing with. So with these 4 things here, this actually even checks off. This says a wrench or pliers to turn off utilities. I don't know that this will handle, the 1+ inch nuts that you might have to deal with, but I'm gonna say this covers tools. Flashlight covered. Down here says matches and a waterproof, and I might still throw matches in something. First aid up here. So just these 4 things that are easy, they're small, they're cheap, and they fit even just in this kit itself. There we go. And last but not least, yeah, we can fold this up. And there we go. That, to me, honestly, suddenly becomes, just with these 4 items, a decent kit that you can grab that you can know you will be able to handle a day of emergency with. So make sure, tell me what you think. There are a lot of reviews of this out there. Again, I think that this is more useful than people give it credit for. And I like to see reviews that tell me something more than just, here's what this is, here's just my opinion. I like to be able to reflect on what some of these things do, on what I would use them for, and I would love to hear what you think, what you would use them for, what you would add. Comment below and that helps get this out there, and subscribe, because I think this is going to I think this has inspired me to do my own video on a prep bag, an emergency bag that I think, honestly, I can use this list itself to build from, not just a grab bag because, oh no, there's a tornado, whatever it is, or I need to go somewhere, but an actual emergency bag that I think would be useful, because like most people, I'm not worried about the zombie apocalypse. I'm not worried about nuclear Armageddon. Now, that being said, as a dad, I'm worried about everything always, because I want to keep those I love safe. But I think I'm like most of us in that I just want to be prepared for the things that I see happen, or the emergencies that I have personally faced, or I know are a very real possibility. So I hope that this has inspired anyone. I hope that this helps you think about your preparedness, your EDC, your easy dad carry, your everyday convenience. So as always, stay safe, be prepared, and have a great day.